Tonight on News 13.
Big changes coming to City Council. We'll have the winners and losers of Tuesday night's election. I'll have that story.
Schuylkill County elects its first woman district attorney. I'll have a one-on-one interview with Christine Holman coming up.
All polls in one county were handicap accessible yesterday. We'll tell you how a local documentary helped it happen.
This is News 13 Now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to News 13 Now. I'm Kathy Bazinski. A mix of the old and the new in your vote 2013 as voters all across Luzerne, Schuylkill, and Carbon counties all echoed a theme of change. Let's begin with Hazleton City Council, where change was evident. Gone will be Council President Jim Perry and Sitting Councilman Kevin Shatter. Making a return to Council after an absence of some time will be Dr. David Sosar and his running mate, incumbent Jack Monday. Joining them on Council for a first-term Republican Jeff Cassatt. News 13's Christina Papa covered the council candidates and chronicles the thrill of victory.
I think there's 5 very good candidates, and I think it's going to be a very close race.
A close race that ended in a win for newly appointed Hazleton City Council member Jeffrey Cassatt. Cassatt celebrated with family and friends at his restaurant on Alter Street in Hazleton last night.
You know, a breath of fresh air, and Jeff is a very nice gentleman too, and I think he would do very well for Hazleton.
The new council member gathered poll numbers himself and punched them in shortly after 8. Council President Jim Perry was across town in the Heights at Bunkers with friends and family when he found out the results.
You know, the people have made up their mind, and I think it's sad because Kevin and I really did care. We really were, we were good for the city. So we'll hope this will work out for everybody, and we'll see where we go from here.
Perry and Democrat candidate Kevin Shatter received the least amount of votes, trailing by only a couple hundred. Shatter was appointed a position earlier this year. This was his first time running on an election for a seat on council.
Well, like I said, I'll continue to work hard and approach everything like I always do with honor and dignity. I won't shy away from all that and making tough decisions.
Perry says while he's disappointed he won't be coming back next year, he will continue to serve the city and help solve fiscal issues until his term is up.
What I'll do to work hard, and I care about my city. I will always care about it, whether I'm on or not.
Perry's co-council member Jack Monday was reappointed.
It's a great night.
Monday and his running partner Dr. David Sosar received the last 2 remaining seats on council.
I'm humbled by it. It's my 4th term. I'll always do what's right for the citizens and residents of Hazleton.
Sosar won with the most votes. He says now that he's been elected, it's time to get down to business.
To change and put more police on the street, more firefighters on the street at any given time, things that we can do that aren't going to cost the taxpayers money, that aren't going to change things along the way drastically, but things that we can do to help the city out.
Christina Papa, News 13, Greater Hazleton.
And change is also coming to the Hazleton Area School Board. Last night, voters across the district decided to replace veteran school director Carmela Yankiewicz and elect 2 political newcomers, 21-year-old Jared O'Donnell and James Chapman. Voters also returned incumbent directors Bob Mahalik and Clarence John to the board for 4-year terms. Probably the biggest upset and biggest winner is the college student who will soon join the board. Samantha Galvez tells us how he plans on making the changes which he says the district needs.
Hey!
Not even 4 years ago, Jared O'Donnell was sitting in the same seats as senior high school students sit in now. It was at graduation from Hazleton Area High School that he realized it was time for a change.
I want to make a difference. I want to help taxpayers as much as possible. I want to help students as much as possible because this is the future. You know, the future of our area is really found in education.
Now at just 21 years old and in his 2nd attempt for public office, O'Donnell is a senior in college and will graduate next year with a finance degree and is set to become the youngest school board member the Hazleton Area District has ever had. I spoke with the president of the Hazleton Area School Board who told me despite Jared's young age, it's fresh faces like his that our school districts need.
I think it's going to be refreshing to have, somebody that graduated from our high school, 4 years ago to serve on the board. Jared's called for the creation of a student advisory committee, which I think is a great idea. We need to hear from our students. What are we as a board doing that they like and what don't they like?
People look past the age. They really looked at, we need someone young, we need someone, a fresh face.
And while his opposing candidate, Carmela Yankovic, had 12 years of experience on the school board, O'Donnell landed a seat with almost 1,500 more votes.
Jared is very independent. He's going to think for himself, and he's going to do what's in the best interest of the taxpayers and our students.
I'm excited to make change. I'm excited to do good work for the district and do good work for the taxpayers of our district.
Samantha Galvez, News 13, Cunningham.
There will be a mix of the old and new as voters all across Luzerne County have their first opportunity to cast their votes for sitting members of county council or add new members to the mix. Luzerne County voters chose to give incumbent county council members Linda McCloskey-Hauk, Rick Williams, and Harry Haas a second term. They also chose 2 newcomers to fill the 2 remaining seats, Democrat Eileen Sorokas and Republican Kathy Dobash. Incumbent Eugene Kelleher lost his seat, and several candidates who ran as a team failed to make the cut. Council members are paid $8,000 a year and are responsible for approving the budget and large contracts and evaluating the county manager. Luzerne County also has a new watchdog tonight. Democrat Michelle Bednar, a Cunningham Township resident and the tax collector there, handily beat longtime Republican candidate and former 2-time county prothonotary Caroline Medico Olenjinsky. Bednar will fill the post vacated by former controller Walter Griffith, who was forced to resign as part of an illegal wiretap investigation. The race for district attorney in Schuylkill County was all about change. One way or another, Schuylkill was about to have its first ever elected female DA. But it wasn't to be sitting district attorney Democrat Karen Burns-Noon, who was appointed to the post to fill an unexpired term. In a battle that came at the end of the night and down to a few dozen votes, Republican Christine Holman emerged as the new district attorney, narrowly edging Burns-Noon. News 13's Matthew Petrillo caught it this morning with the first DA.
Said to my husband, Champ, are you sure? Please be sure. He said, I'm sure.
Christine Holman says she was shocked when she learned voters elected her as Schuylkill County's first woman district attorney.
Long overdue. I'm elated, and I just think it's really cool.
She celebrated this morning by having breakfast with her family at her favorite eatery, the Frackville Cracker Barrel.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Christine's father says he couldn't be more proud of her.
That it was an emotional roller coaster ride, and I was just glad that the whole thing was over.
Christine is Schuylkill's first elected woman district attorney. Karen Burns-Noon, who currently serves as DA, was appointed to the position after her predecessor became a judge. Burns-Noon wasn't available for comment today, but Holman says she can't wait to start.
I'm sorry for my opponent. She has served our county well, and I wish her and her family the best.
Christine is a high energy level person, and I think she's going to make a big difference in this county.
According to unofficial results, Holman beat her opponent by just 67 votes.
There is some irony to that because there's 67 municipalities in this county, and every vote counts.
And though she is the unofficial winner, it's not over till the fat lady sings. That's because the Election Bureau doesn't count the official ballots until Friday morning. And in a close race like this, that means anyone can come out the winner.
When we start them on Friday, that doesn't mean they'll be completed on Friday. Okay, so if people call, we're not going to have results for them.
News 13 will broadcast the official results the evening they're announced. Matthew Petrillo, News 13, Frackville.
The battle for Schuylkill County Sheriff featured more drama than a classic Western movie, but in the end, incumbent Schuylkill County Sheriff Joe Rudy was left standing with a substantial victory. His opponent, Patrick Reynolds, asked voters to support him, even though he was arrested by state police just days before the election. Controversial former Gilberton Police Chief Mark Kessler also ran as a write-in candidate. Incumbent Joe Rudy was reelected in a landslide victory, more than doubling his opponent in votes. Rudy's a Democrat, and he won with more than 20,000 votes to about 8,000 votes, according to unofficial results Tuesday night.
I'm feeling terrific. I feel like I just won the lottery again, you know? And like I said, my main focus here is to capitalize on new things that we can do for the county, better things that we can do to run the county better, to help the citizens of this county, and make our office a better office to work on.
Rudy is a lifelong resident of Ashland and served with borough police there for more than 3 decades. This will be Rudy's second elected term to the 4-year position. Last time he won with less than 1,000 votes combined. Well, one way or the other, Pottsville was electing a new mayor last night. The choices: the well-known president of City Council, James Muldowney, was challenged by 20-something Scott Thomas, who ran an aggressive grassroots campaign. In the end, they were separated by just a few hundred votes, but Muldowney came out on top. On the day after the extremely close election, the Pottsville City Council president said he was glad that voters in the city chose him, and says that with his decade of experience in city government, he'll get right to work continuing to improve Pottsville.
Definitely working on regionalizing the police force with all local municipalities, partnershiping with some local entities, businesses, to bring them forth to help the city prosper, and definitely our fight on blight.
We all have children, grown children. I have 4 grandchildren, so I mean, we're here in Pottsville to stay, and we want to make it good for our kids, you know.
The win continues the Democratic Party's reign in Pottsville. The current mayor and all 5 council members are all Democrats, and that's the way it's been for years. When the candidates are sworn in, they'll have to elect a new council president now that Muldowney has been elected mayor. Well, just a year ago, Luzerne County had several polling places which just weren't accessible for people in wheelchairs or with other disabilities. As Samantha Galvez tells us, changes were made in time for this election after being brought to light by a university documentary.
We've all gone through it, the pain of having to wait in line while casting our ballots for whatever election. But how would you feel if you were denied the opportunity to vote simply because you couldn't get into the building? Standing in line doesn't seem so bad now.
And there was no real accessibility. We had some cement steps to get up to the polling area. It was a lot harder for people to get access to those.
A year ago this time, Dr. Melissa Scroy from Misericordia University recognized that many polling places weren't wheelchair accessible and made a documentary outlining the problem.
And we thought, well, you know, we were going to accompany one young man in Scranton to his polling site, and he had a disability, and we just wanted to see how it would go. And that's when we noticed that his site had a real accessibility problem. And so we thought, well, if that's going on here, what is it like everywhere else?
And while people with disabilities who must rely on wheelchairs from day to day are used to facing challenges to complete daily tasks, not having the means to vote is not only frustrating, but also illegal. And while this polling place in Hazleton has wheelchair accessibility, research shows that 72% of all polling places in the United States have barriers for people in wheelchairs. Dr. Scroy said the only way that change could be made possible is by having her voice heard through the media. The biggest problem of this issue, she says, is that disability is outside of most people's daily life.
Disability is outside of the context of most people's lived experience. So they don't understand that they're excluding, they're not aware of that exclusion, because you and I can walk in the door just fine. So it's something that tends to just sort of slip by.
We don't think necessarily every day about how things like the stairs behind me would create an impassable barrier to other people. You know, we just walk up the stairs and begroan the fact that there's no escalator, as opposed to, oh, wait, some people actually can't walk up those stairs. So for everyday life, it's sort of benign neglect. And even though it's wrong, we can sort of get past it. But for things like voting day, where it's very important for everyone to get involved, you know, if some people can't get in, then some people don't have a voice. And that's just wrong.
Since the documentary was made, 5 polling locations in Luzerne County have made changes so that disabled people could have the means to vote in this week's election. And while Dr. Scroy's efforts have made a large impact locally on disability access, the problem still remains on a national level. Talk about having to conquer a flight of stairs. Samantha Galvez, News 13, Hazleton.
Time now for News 13 weather.
In tonight's weather shot, we are local and loving it in Tamaqua, where neighbors along Route 309 in Claremont are taking advantage of the mild day to rake the rest of those leaves before the rain arrives. Checking the National Weather Service radar, plenty of shower action well up to our north, but as we head into the evening and overnight, that's going to be headed in our general direction. Here's News 13 weather from the National Weather Service. First for Greater Hazleton, for tonight, showers during the overnight with a low down to 47 degrees. Then for Thursday, showers during the morning, then they clear out with a high up to 49. It'll be partly cloudy at night with a low down to 31 degrees. For Friday, mostly sunny with a high near 41, partly cloudy, cold at night, low getting down to 31. For Saturday, mostly cloudy with a high of 45, overnight low down to 35, and Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 50. Now heading to Schuylkill County for tonight, showers during the overnight with a low around 51 degrees. Then Thursday, showers in the morning, but then finally things clear out. The high will reach up to about 53 degrees. Be mostly cloudy at night with a low around 33. For Friday, mostly sunny, high up to 46, but it's going to be clear and cold at night with a low down to 30. For Saturday, partly sunny with a high near 47. 37, overnight low around 34. And then on Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 51 degrees. And let's check the winning midday lottery numbers. Good luck if you played. The daily 0, 2, 4. The big 4, 3, 9, 9, 5. Quinto, 6, 1, 8, 2, 3. And the treasure hunt, 7, 12, 13, 19, 30. Hope you won.
Good evening, everyone, and here's tonight's Talk of the Town report. First tonight, a free energy saving and comfort seminar will be held Tuesday, November 12th at the Butler Township Community Building from 7 to 8 p.m. Learn about the great opportunities to fight against rising energy costs and comfort problems in your home. Call today to register for this free event, 570-788-3845. Next announcement, the Rotary Club of Hazleton will be holding its annual spaghetti dinner on Wednesday, November 13th at Genetti's Best Western. Eat-in or takeout will be available from 4:30 to 7 p.m., and tickets may be purchased from any Rotary member or by calling 570-454-2494. All proceeds benefit the Rotary Scholarship Fund. And finally, the 3rd annual Emmanuel Christian School Fall Auction will be held Saturday, November 9th at Sand Springs Country Club. A viewing of the items begins at 4:30 and auction starts at 6 p.m. No tickets are required to attend. For more info, please call 570-459-1111. That's tonight's Talk of the Town. News 13 would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. David Doc A. Barnes of Silver Springs, Florida. Memorial will be held at the family's convenience. Mary F. Prester Bickelman of Weatherly. Funeral is Thursday at 11 a.m. at the Philip J. Jeffries Funeral Home. There will be no calling hours. April M. Petrick of Freeland. Private arrangements are by the Philip J. Jeffries Funeral Home. And Joan G. Gilligan of Sandy Valley. Memorial is Friday at 10 a.m. in the Immaculate Conception Parish at St. Anne's Church. The McNulty Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements.
This is News 13 Sports.
Certainly was a great day, great afternoon and evening yesterday for not only the winning political candidates, but for the regional volleyball field hockey teams who advanced to the first round of the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association Championships, better known as the PIAA. Let's take a look, and we'll start it off taking a look at single A girls volleyball. And down in District 11, Marion Catholic, true to form, they had a very easy time putting away Dunmore. Remember, Dunmore's District 2 champs, and Doc John Fallabell's club rolled over to them in 3 straight sets. They now will advance, and they're going to play Christopher Dock. They're the District 1 champs. They beat the District 12 champs 3-0. This could be a very interesting matchup. That's the quarterfinals. That'll be held on Saturday. Meanwhile, in a good one, Dayspring Christian Academy outlasted Williamson. It went down to the wire 3-2, the final in that one. And Bishop Guilfoyle knocked off North Star in straight sets. So they'll be going at it as well. All the other half of the bracket is a Western one. So right now, we're interested on what we've just shown you on the screen right there. Let's go to Double A volleyball, where Holy Redeemer, the team out of the Wyoming Valley Conference of the District 2 champs, easily put away Troy, the District 4 champ. And now they'll play another district champ, but that'll be DeLone Catholic. That one will be on Saturday as well. Now Lancaster Catholic, or make that Lansdale Catholic, I should say, knocked off Pope John, or will play Pope John Paul II. Pope John Paul beat the Hawks of Bethlehem Catholic. So it's Lansdale Catholic, Pope John Paul II. That's the other half of the quarterfinals in Double A girls volleyball. Field hockey. Well, you know the old story here. Wyoming Valley Conference usually can hold their own. For the first round, 3 in and 3 advance. We'll start with Wyoming Sem. You can see they knocked off Selinsgrove. It took them overtime. Selinsgrove, a district champ out of District 4. And they'll now get the District 1 champ Upper Perkiomen Club because they got by Donegal. In the other half of the bracket, you can see Gwen and Mercy and Archbishop Carroll advanced. The Crestwood Lady Comets, well, they took another step toward defending their 2012 state championship. They knocked off Boiling Springs by a 3-1 count, and they'll now draw Southern Lehigh, who snuck by Marion Mercy 1-0. So Southern Lehigh, Crestwood. That'll be on Saturday at a site to be determined. Notice that Sem and Crestwood are in opposite half of the brackets. They cannot meet unless it would be in the Eastern Final. So wouldn't that be sweet if you're a District 2 and Wyoming Valley Conference fan? And speaking of Wyoming Valley Conference, kudos to the Coughlin Crusaders. They knocked off Pleasant Valley out of District 11. Coughlin advances. They'll play Penn Manor. They won by the identical score over Central Bucks South. Lower Dolphin advance. Twin Valley advances. So the setup there, Coughlin against Penn Manor, Lower Dolphin against Twin Valley. That's the results from the opening rounds. We'll keep you posted, but boy, oh boy, that Wyoming Valley Conference field hockey, always one of the torchbearers in the eastern part of the state. Well, people were predicting doom and gloom for the Sixers, and who knows, it's a long season, but they started out 3-0 before getting upended by Golden State tonight. They'll host the Washington Wizards. You remember them. They used to be called the Washington Bullets. That was the first attempt at political correctness. It's really affected the gun rate, huh? Anyhow, Washington, not too good of a basketball team in the first 2 weeks. They're looking for their first win. So we'll see if the Sixers can take care of business. The New York Rangers skating at home. The Blue Shirts entertaining Pittsburgh. And in the American Hockey League, well, the Pens are going to be skating tonight. 7:05, time for the puck to drop. Syracuse in town. And the way the weather's going, it's going to be a nice, cozy night to be indoors at the Mohegan Sun Arena. I'm going to check. Maybe I'm going to run up and catch my first Pens game of the year.